starting off this DIY with a hard foam board, and I'm going to be cutting out a large circle from this foam board for a unique wall clock. I'll be using mirrors for this wall clock, so I'm going to go ahead now and make marks where I want the mirrors to be. I'm going to cut this off and take it out in spray painted silver. This is a clock machine that I had used for another project, so I'm going to be removing the gold detailing that I put inside and replace it with something else. I'll be replacing it with the glitter contact paper that's self-adhesive. This will be at the middle of the board. I'll be carving out another glitter contact paper to cover up the open sides that I have here in the middle. I'll be making a design for the middle of the clock, and after I'm done drawing out how I want the design to be, I'm going to be tracing out the lines with gems. I'll be removing the other self-adhesive gems that I placed close to the edge of the board because some of them are going to come in contact with the mirrors that I'll be using there. In order for the clock machine to work properly, I'm going to be elevating the middle part so that the clock handles can move freely. The edges will be covered with mirror reflective paper. I have a lot of different mirrors that I got from IKEA, and these are the little ones. I'll be cutting down these mirrors into smaller sizes with a mirror cutter. The trick behind cutting a mirror is to listen for that sound that's going to score it properly and then place it at an edge and then take off the piece. IKEA mirrors have a protective film at the back, so that's why you see me cutting off here to make the pieces singular. I did this until I was able to get 24 pieces. I will glue the mirrors around the board before then cutting out the overlapping mirror reflective paper. I'm gonna have glitter all around this, and I'll be using Mod Podge and mixing it with the glitter before then applying it onto the board. I applied 2 coats to this. I later decided to cover up the pointy designs with a hard reflective paper sheet. I also replaced what was in the middle with the reflective paper. I'm going to be putting on the time indicators and then mounting this on the wall. Unlike my other DIYs, I decided to use real mirrors for the outer design for this clock, and I think it turned out okay. I wasn't really 100% satisfied with the design I have in the middle, so what I did was to remove the middle part. Since it was foam board, I just carved it out with a sharp cutting tool that I got from the Dollar Tree and used trays for the other design. I'll be covering the lip of the tray with mirror reflective paper, and then carving out the rough edges with an X-Acto knife. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. I'm going to keep this aside and take an old cutout of foam board that has been covered with mirror reflective paper. This is from another project, so I'm going to use this instead of throwing it away. I'm going to draw a circle around it and then make a deep groove on that circle and carve it out. The inner side is going to be covered with Mod Podge, a thick layer of Mod Podge, and then after that, I'm going to be sprinkling crushed mirror glass on it. I'm going to keep this aside to dry for some minutes and then apply another layer of Mod Podge over it to seal it in. I kept that aside and then took the tray that I earlier worked on and made a hole in the middle. The hole is going to be for the clock machine. I want to try out these reflective sheets, and after putting them on, they did not turn out the way I wanted them to be. So because of that, I'm going to be using Dollar Tree trays and cutting them to the size that's going to suit the middle. I need a round shape for the middle of the clock, and I'm going to be getting that from the tray as well. This is the clock machine that I have that I'm going to use for this project. I won't be able to use glue gun to attach the pieces to the tray. So what I did was to use spray adhesive to keep the pieces flat on the tray. I kept this aside and took the other piece that I worked on earlier, and then I cut another round board from a board that had pieces of mirror reflective paper on it. Now I'm using all these parts and pieces because I want to make use of the leftovers that I have at home instead of throwing them away. Now I'm going to be attaching it to the first board. This is so that the edges will be reflective since I did not make a perfect cut for the middle. And the tray itself is not big enough to cover it, so that's why I did this. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach the clock machine to the back. This little piece will be added in the middle just to add to the design. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the hour hand, minute hand, and the second hand. When I was done, the outer circle still looks pretty rough. So because of that, I'm going to switch it up with a larger tray and covering up the lip of this other bigger tray with mirror reflective paper, just like I did for the other tray that I used in the middle. I'll be using this flexible mirror sheets to make Roman numerals for the wall clock. You can also use mirror reflective paper on a poster board to cut out your shape. I'm just using this because I have it at home already. I'll arrange the Roman numerals on the table first before I then glue them on to the clock. I glued them to the clock using a hot glue gun. Now I'm going to take the outer design and glue it onto this one. I used a strong adhesive and a hot glue gun, and then turned it to the back and held it down with tape, just to make sure that it stays in place while it sets. The open spaces by the side here is going to be covered up with gems. After installing the time indicators, I mounted this to the wall. Both designs are great, and the second design, for those of you who have followed me for a while now, you would know that it's from an old video that I had made, and the link for that video is going to be down in the description box below. You can use either of the designs on the wall and it would still look pretty. Thank you all so much for watching. I have other home decor DIY videos that are linked in the description box below to check them out. And for those of you who have not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to click on the subscribe button.